Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Stories from the Unbound Shoulders. Where we last left off, the group had managed to finish and win their battle against the enemy duelists, I guess is the best way to put it for now, known as Life and Death, in a effective, though somewhat anticlimactic manner. After which, rewards and prestige were gained from their victory in the tournament as a whole, and they set out to have a discussion with their former foes in hopes of coming to some arrangement to help with the plan that they inadvertently foiled. With the group, after getting a private room, and in one way or another, buying themselves some privacy, our party consented to a zone of truth so that they might be able to have a more open and honest conversation once some trust was established. With most of their questions having been answered to their satisfactory. That being life and death, not the parties. So you guys feel like I've missed anything?
I don't think so. So, is it our turn to continue that discussion, or do they have more questions for us?
To the best of my knowledge, their questions are done. So, either I can have them speak first and try to explain themselves, or if you guys want to ask questions to me.
I'd hear from them.
Yeah.
You guys may choose to stay in the zone of truth, which would technically be more of the room, but room windows would normally be bigger, so I'm just representing it by the rune-esque playing cards in a circle over there underneath your feet. If you want to step out of it, feel free to move you guys' tokens to the table. Alright, so. Well, glad to see that we've come to an understanding. So, you wish to help, and, well, take me a little bit of time to think of how that might be accomplished. I'm curious in how you three ended up in this scenario in the first place.
Going to...
And Life will be doing most of the talking.
Yeah, I'm gonna cast a glance to Miss Melisari.
Who is casting a glance to Aurelion?
I'll follow her gaze back to Aurelion. It's like, yeah, traveling together, and so when one has a need, others help. Our friend Aurelion had a need. You want to talk to them about the details of that, Aurelion?
About the scabbard?
Oh, yes. They want to know why we are here, participating in the tournament, getting in the way of their own plans, potentially supporting this follower of Asmodeus.
Oh, he has my scabbard. Or, no, I have it now. He had my scabbard.
Have it.
I kind of just pat it. It's a family heirloom. It's been in damage for generations. It was stolen, and it ended up in his hands.
Yeah. newly arrived in this area and not want knocking down doors, claim items that could be procured in more couth ways, shall we say. And so we worked out a deal where we would participate in this tournament, entertain the masses, and regain our Aurelian's lost treasure. I did not know at the time that its magistrate was so ill-regarded by those around him. But it brings us to now. We have seen that he's less than he appears, and I think that perhaps you have a proper claim to wish to do something about him.
Right. I do have things I wish to do about him, but having not been able to fulfill our end of the contract that we managed to get him into, there's not much we can do at the moment.
Can you tell us about this contract that you had with him, as we also had a similar thing going on? You're unaware, of course.
Sadly, we cannot.
Can you answer if that is part of the stipulation of the contract that you cannot talk on it?
I can neither confirm nor deny if that was part of any contract.
Melisari's just gonna get a wicked grin on her face.
Now, why would such an upstanding, I say this to my group, not to Life and Death, why would such an upstanding gentleman as Lord Ralek here require that people going into deals with him be unable to talk about those deals?
I'm certain there are no stipulations about thinking about it, though. She is grinning wickedly.
Oh, I don't imagine he could put them into agreement where they could not think about it. That would be just possible to fulfill. He's, side-eyeing Life and Death as he says that.
They say nothing. They pointedly say nothing.
I mean, I'm gonna take that as tacit assent.
If you would be willing, I could cast Detect Thoughts, and you could tell us all about that contract.
Over the bond, I'm going to say I believe that they are implying through their silence that they know what you're thinking and cannot say anything. Sorry. Go for it.
I'm looking to them for any sign of consent.
You will receive none.
But also no sign of discontent.
There is, there is no sign of whatever the opposite of consent is, but there's no sign either way.
Then I will move to cast the spell. Who's been talking? So I'll cast on them, and actually I should.
You actually
warn
cast it
them
on
before I
yourself,
do so.
and then you direct it at them.
Oh well, yes, okay, fair. But regardless.
Yes, Life has been doing most of the talking. I will say this: Tech Thoughts has a
1 minute.
1 minute casting duration. So
Yes.
I will say we can do this one of two ways. Either I will give you 1 question per action, aka 10 questions, because you are going to shape the thoughts that they're that you're wanting to try and get out, like, or I can set a timer for like 4 minutes, since I also have to reply.
I mean, hang on, sorry, I'm just. I was mostly thinking cast the spell and let them just think their way through the contract. Like the important terms.
Because the spell you're doing is a surface thoughts thing, you have to give them prompts in order to get what you're looking for.
I mean, in theory, you get whatever their surface thoughts are. They can choose to think about something, no?
They can,
They can.
but you're trying to very directly have them do something that's explicitly against their contract. So you have to be more cagey about it. You have to be more roundabout.
Let me put this another way. Like, under normal circumstances, they could choose to think about these things, and you could just do it that way.
Gotcha.
However,
but they know
you need
that...
to force their brains to bring those thoughts to the front of their mind.
Yep. Okay. Then I will move to cast the spell and then pause for a second. Brain thoughts. Glance to the others and asks, what are the key points we want to hit?
Oh, by the way, before I forget, again, the money you guys got from the tournament winnings was 2,000 for each of you, which I think included Nightmare.
Nice. Alright, I will mark that on my sheet. So 8,000.
Nice.
Nice. Rolling. I have a subset of tabs that just says Tristan's a player, and when I open it, there's 3 tabs in it. They're the 3 characters that I play at any given time. I am sitting around Eskel, Xander, Roland. Which one? Oh, right, Roland.
Okay, anyway.
We have over 13,000. Let's buy a boat.
We don't need a boat, we're in the desert.
Buy a desert boat.
You can get a mid-sized boat.
Save it for... Save that for later.
Gonna take
Maybe when we get out of the desert.
Buy a small boat that a single person can manage. Just get it completely decked out with, like, effigies and illustrations of Illustray, and then just sail around the world spreading the word via my boat.
The boat named the Dark Lady.
Exactly what was in my brain, yes.
A very fitting boat name.
Advertisement via super yacht.
It'll be the world's smallest super yacht. But yeah, if I could afford a super yacht, he'd probably do it.
Sadly, no. I don't think you can even afford, like, you can afford some ships, but there's
I think the
some
next one up is 15,000, and then above that it's like 70,000 or 100.
I think there's also a 25k tier somewhere. I can go check. Well,
Yeah, I'm like,
you
I'm
think
gonna
of your
look it up.
questions. No, you think of questions. I'll look it up.
Questions.
Well, I was trying to get the others to tell me what key points we want to hit.
Oh, I didn't hear you ask for that. And I was
She did
glad
ask
to
for that.
encourage you to, be your own best friend.
My brain does not exist in a state of being my friend. My brain exists in a state of not being my friend. Speaking of,
Most unfortunate.
my meds were really late last night.
Alright, so, want to, start just by verifying that, the things you think are going on are, and verifying that this method works. So you want to say something like, and you want to be I think, let me preface that saying, I think you want to be indirect about how you state things. So you want to make a statement that they will, any person would want to respond to. So just think about being an internet troll for a second, and just make a statement which would provoke a response. And so you'd say something like, man, it would be terrible if, if I was in a deal with Lord Rallick and I couldn't talk about it. And that's going to, make them think about the fact that they can't talk about their deal, and that can be confirmation of this situation. Super roundabout. But the tenets of the deal, the whatever stipulations of the deal, probably will counter any, direct interrogation. I'm gonna pretend that that's the case, because I don't want to waste time.
I mean, I now have to try and think of roundabout ways to ask questions, which probably means attempting to, do a fair amount of inferring and speculating.
Yeah. I mean, in some cases, it's really easy. Like, in previous campaigns where I've used, detect thoughts to find things, especially, when you're talking to somebody who's trying to guard a piece of information, you only need them to think about it, so you just bring it up in a way that they'll not be able to help but think about it. So, whatever you do, don't think about the code to the safe. You can be less indirect. I have this sneaking suspicion that just being like, hey, what are the rules of your agreement, is not going to cause them to think about the rules of the agreement. But maybe it will! Maybe I'm overthinking it. Whatever you do, don't think about what Lord Rallick wanted from you. I'm curious as to why they were, directly, verbally challenging Lord Rallick after their bout, ahead of fighting us, when apparently they were already in some sort of agreement with him that they'd be getting something out of. Which makes me curious what they were supposed to be getting out of it, and what he was getting out of it, if they seemed, at that point, like it wasn't their priority? I don't know. Their behavior made it surprising that they were in an agreement.
Kind of makes sense to me, though, with, if they're unpleased with how it's shaking out, maybe my suspicion is that he set stipulations that they can't meet, or that he is actively, thwarting.
I think that, they made some agreement like we did, where he has something, or access to something, or control over something that they want, or need, for some reason, and, they made this deal that if they win the competition, they get it from him, and that's when we showed up looking for this scabbard, and he's like, oh, opportunity, I can prevent them from winning, therefore I don't have to uphold my end of the bargain because they failed. Now, but their outburst wasn't about us. Their outburst was about him using undead. So, the question is, that I have is, did they not know that he was going to be using undead in the competition before they entered it? Before they entered into this deal? Was it performative? Like, because that's kind of what led me to want to help them, was they seem to be, following this righteous goal, being against this guy who's using undead, which is easy to get behind. Especially us knowing that he's, tied to the Hells through this deal-making. But if that's not the case, like if that's some ruse that they were putting on for some reason, then it calls into question, Roland's very reason for being here. Finding out that they were in a deal with the guy is big and important to Roland. That's all I can say on that. Is how I'll summarize it.
I gotta stop playing, like, mental heavy characters.
They're my favorite.
Just start playing fucking Sword Goper characters.
Lord Goper.
Sword Goper.
I don't know what word you're using, but I understand the sentiment.
Sword Goper.
What does Sword Goper mean?
Sword Go Burr.
Oh, Sword Go Burr.
Yeah.
I was in my head. It was Gopher without the H.
Okay. Okay. I heard her say the same thing each time, so it took me a while to understand even where you were getting where the confusion was getting inserted, more or less.
Sword Go Burr.
I don't use the phrase "go burr." That's the first one I think of.
I don't even remember where. Well, okay, that's irrelevant. Focus.
ADHD brain, go burr.
Yeah, pretty much. And not in the ways you need it to.
Never.
Yeah. Never in the ways you need to.
I gotta wonder. If detect thoughts would be real easy to get info out of me for, or real hard.
I mean, I think that it would be easy to get info. It would just not be easy to get the info you want.
Fair.
That just made me think of Archer. Anyway.
Exactly.
I can explain that later, but, okay.
I'm trying to, honestly, my silence on this is mostly to just try not to be the one guiding everything, let you play your character, but if there is challenge here, I can try to bulletize some thoughts.
Okay, I think the timer method may be the preference, because trying to think of specific questions. Oh, it's only 10 specific questions.
You can either get 10 that you line up in advance, or 5 that you ask, get a response to, and then pick the next one. If you're going the questions route, that is. But both would be fun. Well, not both, but either would be fine.
Alright. I think I'm going to try to formulate a list of questions slash provocative statements. And then if I have to pivot, or if I decide to pivot, I will let you know and we'll knock off a question.
Sure. If you have a general idea of what is it you want to ask about, that's something I might be able to help you with. But
I noted down 5 little bullet points that Roland cares about. And stating something as simple as Rallick required us to win the tournament and prevent you winning in order to give us what we wanted is enough for them. Is probably enough to make them go, yeah, well, what he wanted from us was X. In their brains, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, making statements that people are going to immediately draw a comparison to in their own life is a good way of utilizing surface thoughts. I love that I've been watching my dice, the Pixel Dice project, like, waiting for them to ship to me for months on end here. And then finally I'm like, well, I'm gonna be moving to a new address in 5 days, so I guess I better update my address now and hope that, you know, whenever they get this done, it goes to the right place. And I update my address, and I hit save, and it goes, they're in fulfillment now. And the next day I got like a shipping thing. Like yesterday I got like a shipping thing saying like, here's your tracking number. Like, you gotta be kidding me.
That's frustrating.
Yeah. Hopefully it delivers on Monday after I'm already there. But like if it delivers today it should be okay. I'll be there tomorrow, but we'll see.
So curious about how his people acted before the tournament. I remember them being cagey and not being able to talk about certain things.
Hinting at it should be able to get them to think about it, hopefully. Just probably anything that's phrased as a direct question might, like, shut them down or something. Like, I don't know that that's the case, but the fact that they're just stonying... I imagine they're using the stony expression to let us know, like, we can't give you yes or no's in this situation, but if we say nothing, hopefully you'll do what you're talking about. That's the way I took it.
more or less. Like, they might occasionally kind of just look at each other. But, like, that's about it. You can't not like say or do much of anything.
It's the Hoyd curse.
what curse?
The Hoyd curse. He can't talk about the curse or anything relating to the person that cursed him, but you can ask questions about things around it, and when you find things he can't talk about, you know that's the answer.
I cannot confirm or deny any such interactions of this nature.
Somebody feeling a little inspired by Trust in the Emerald Sea.
Actually, I'd forgotten about it, but no, that's pretty much a nail on the head.
Bam.
But detect thoughts is a certainly much more direct path.
Oh, yeah. You know how many topics there are to talk about? And waiting for them to not be able to answer? Somewhere between infinite and infinity plus 1. Do you have any thoughts on this subject, Thomas?
Not really.
Nothing you want to know from these guys about their relationship with our mutual benefactor here?
While your mutual benefactor might have wanted your scabbard in the first place.
Yeah.
What was that?
He was saying, like, why did it... How did it find its way to Rollick anyway? Like, it was very convenient that he had it, so we needed to make a deal with him to get it, and he could guide that deal to fuck up another deal he'd made. You know, fuck the people he'd made the deal with out of their end of the deal by using us. Like, that's super convenient. So, like, one would be forgiven for being curious as to whether or not that he knows more about us than he's let on.
It is a really nice scabbard.
It is. But he's
So that's
an exceedingly wealthy person. Like, he could just commission one, probably.
And who buys just a scabbard? Why not a sword to go in the scabbard?
God damn it. Y'all making me feel stupid.
Sorry. To be honest, a lot of these questions don't have their grand answers. It's part of why we're shifting to the other thing, so I can try writing some more stuff for this for future use. But they do have at least short-term answers.
I swear I'm making progress here.
I believe you.
Um, the one I just wrote out was amusing to me. Just for the sake of showing there's progress.
Orders.
Or
Hurrah.
forgetting it.
Or am I okay?
That was a friend of mine that was how a friend of mine just recently told me she's pregnant. It was like, hey, I'm forgetting that. I'm like, nice! In so many ways, nice.
Yes, I am Pregante.
I get that reference. It's like, what reference? Oh, you're just illiterate.
Yeah, Bergnat. Anyway.
Virginat.
I love that video.
Can you get pregnant?
Breathnart.
Am I Pargent or am I okay? I like that the opposite of pregnant is okay.
If have sex while pregnant,
Can
will
it
hurt baby top of head?
the top of his head?
No, just top of head. I think.
I think it was top of his head. Alright, anyway.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Gonna get bit. That's what's gonna happen.
Chomp.
I do love
Ow.
that video
Jesus.
series.
What?
It was Prangen sex. Prangen sex. Will it hurt baby top of his head? I am now convinced you don't know how your body works.
Yep. Yep.
And perhaps it is unfortunate that you are pregnant.
Yep. Alright. I think that's what I've got. something for this. All right. All right, these are more guidelines than actual rules. Kind of like the note cards on a speech.
Did you see the stuff from Thomas?
I'm hoping we can kind of get them to cover this, but I'm hoping. My brain is currently all consumed with the thought of the taste of baby corn, alright?
What?
Why?
It's the same question.
Okay. Alright, at least it's not the fucking Frenchy farts from last night. That was awful. I hope I, like, trauma that out of my memory. Alright, let's do this. Maybe. Yeah, okay, I'll start at the beginning of this. Okay, so I'm casting Detect Thoughts, if you're ready.
Here.
Got this.
And so are you going with the questions method, or are these what you're trying to follow along with under the timer thing?
The questions method.
Okay.
I fear my ability to convey things and or pivot quickly.
Fair enough.
Alright, so turn 1. I am gonna just say no one really seems to be able to give us a whole lot of information on Rallick or their dealings with him.
How best to respond to this? He has a great many contracts bound in secrecy. Like, it's kind of like you'll see contracts. Yeah, I'm trying to think of it because I'm not just answering the question.
What?
Sorry, I'm trying to think of how best it is because like I want to give you accurate information, but they're also not just answering the question, so I can't just phrase it like an answer.
Tech Thoughts is awesome and also a pain in the ass to use.
And so, did you say your first question word for word, just to make sure I'm going with the right thing here.
Yeah. I can also alter those to as we go to follow the actual. But yeah, word for word.
So,
Two.
so I guess this would probably be best described, like best answered as like a description of images. And if they're not clear, tell me, and I'll see if I can clarify. You'll see them talking to a person about Lord Relic, and then getting stonewalled in a similar fashion to how you are now. Then them talking to Relic, a contract being signed, and then them now stonewalling you.
Okay. That more or less confirms that.
So they were being stonewalled by Rallick?
By
Well, they were
people who had
originally.
dealings.
Yeah.
Sorry, gotta talk to her. Oh, sorry.
Stonewalled by the other people who'd had dealings with Rallick is
Hello?
how I understood that.
Yep. And then them signing a contract with him, and now doing the same to you.
And yeah, we're gonna just continue down the line. Why would anyone enter into an agreement with him? I need you to understand how I feel right now. I feel like someone, I mean, like Tristan said, like an internet troll, but like just trying to get someone's attention walking through, sitting in some restaurant, just spouting off about fucking nonsense while everyone else turns and glares at them.
Alright. So for this, you're actually going to be more or less mentally shouted at by Death. Your spell might not be focused on him, but he's gonna take center stage whether you like it or not.
Actually, funny story, I was considering pivoting it to him. At the last second, choosing to focus on him instead of life.
Well, regardless, you'll get, you will feel him feel an overwhelming sense of rage.
I flinch back.
As you see him just envisioning, like, it's like, well, no, this would probably be more vocal for him. So, why would anyone enter into an agreement? Because that's the only way to work around these blasted laws and take back the souls which he has stolen. And he is just seething. As a matter of fact, make me like a will save. I'm not going to make this a concentration check, but I'm just curious how this might go. Because it's unsettling, to say the least.
Wisdom save?
Yes, sorry. Word's hard.
Wow, 19 on die, 25.
Alright, so you're able to steel yourself well, and so at the very least, you'll be able to push off those concerns until your time isn't as pressed. But him being able to more or less eventually yank your attention, something worth keeping in mind. So then the next question was,
I actually might.
oh, and actually, a little bit further. You would see probably a section of the contract they signed.
Cool.
Where it mentions him having to, where it mentions Relic being to relinquish the souls in his possession, which is like in air quotes more or less. under his power. No, let's put that as the actual phrasing.
Okay. I'm actually gonna veer off track from my previous questions to follow that thread of thought.
Alright. So if you're changing your questions, that'll count as 1, so you'll use 3.
All right, it was 10.
But if we hit 5 o'clock and we haven't progressed, I'm going to start taking away questions.
Rude.
You're in the middle of the spell now.
I know. Anyway, so why would anyone enter into an agreement with him? The only way to get back the souls that he has stolen.
Well, no, it specifically did not say stolen.
Okay.
That were under his power.
Well, no, that was what the contract said, but I thought Death had said the souls he had stolen.
Perhaps he did, but the distinction between the phrasing on each might be worth remembering. I'll see if I can write those down, unless you are.
I am not actually, as you probably should be then. Anyway, the pit, why would anyone enter the pit? A soul must be very precious to someone to make such a deal, I guess. I'm just typing that, but that is what I'm saying. A soul must be very precious to someone to prompt making a deal with him, I guess.
Alright, 1 second. Alright. I'll make sure I get the second question's answer written down.
Yeah, I guess it would be a very important stipulation if, according to Lord Rallick, he's taking what rightfully belongs to him via contracts.
Alright, let's see.
You know what would be an awesome skill to build in response to this thought? Like, I mean, it's kind of like meditation, where you just kind of let the thoughts flow through you, right? You acknowledge it and release it. to, like, be able to immediately relay this through the telepathic bond. Of course, that would also require not getting hung up on your own thoughts in response to these things, but it could be a thing that you could train.
Alright, that's the first two. What was your next question?
The next one is a soul must be very precious to someone to prompt making a deal with someone like Relic.
Uh,
Did he, like, yank me, to him in such a way that I am now focused on him?
I would say yes, but while you were thinking, you could definitely have changed back if you want to.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Like I said, I was considering switching to him anyway. Or, you know, changing the intended from the beginning, but
Okay, sorry about that. That was a very important phone call.
Everything okay?
Yes. Important. It was not bad.
Alright, just want to make sure.
Yeah. Where are we at? Sorry, I wasn't here for any of it.
we are at Death getting pissed off that I would speculate why anyone would enter into an agreement with Relic.
You say,
about,
as someone who entered into an agreement with Relic.
Well,
I
one thing I
okay.
should point out is his anger was not at you or what you said. It seemed firmly directed at the man in question.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm just teasing. I imagine that you were following the suggestion to say something inflammatory to get them to think about what you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I likened it to sitting in a restaurant spouting off nonsense that I know is gonna piss everyone off around me as people like shoot me nasty glares.
Yeah, sounds like it did exactly that.
Anyway, and in response to that, I chose to stray from my preformed questions to say a soul must be very precious to someone to prompt making a deal with someone like Relic.
Mm.
And I can type over or take over typing the responses, Derek, if you want to be able to focus on.
I was trying to.
I can type while you talk, essentially.
Sorry, I'm going to type it out so I can double check my own thoughts here. Precious. Precious has nothing to do with how desperate, stupid, tricked, trapped, or overconfident someone may be. I have no while I expect the souls were very precious to their owners, they were by no means to him. Other than what they could offer him.
I missed a little bit in the middle, but we got that. Ah, never mind.
Let me I did add part of what I said in yours to the. Wait, nope, put it back.
Ah, sorry. Fuck. I don't know if I can put it back. You had said, well, they were certainly precious to their owners. They were not to him. Although the specific wording may
Yeah,
have
close
differed a
enough.
little bit.
But yeah, more or less, it's. Well, I'm not entirely sure what you meant with the someone's soul the precious part. It seems he will take any and all comers so long as he can acquire the objects in the end of things.
Yeah. I had actually been using the question to see if they were looking to get back a specific soul. So his rage is more general as opposed to.
Yeah. If
Or
that
it
was
seems
your
to be anyway.
intention, yes, if that was your intention, then I'll point you to question 2 with the flash of contractor's soul. Saw saying handing over the souls under his power.
Yeah. But I mean, that could still be a, like, this is a thing they believe in generally, but there was a specific one that prompted it, essentially. So I have now confirmed that that's not the case, and it is just their strong convictions. So I'm going to go back to my preset questions and say,
Alright, so that's 4th.
I wonder why it was so important to him for us to beat you.
Suspect because he doesn't know who else could, is what you'll hear him thinking as you see flashes of some of the monsters they've fought and things they've felled. Most of which would also give you guys a run for your money. But who knows? The gods work in mysterious ways.
The gods? I might even say
I mean,
aloud.
I'm not gonna count that as one of your questions, but you will get a one-word answer. Asmodeus.
Got it. I will potentially come back to that thought later, but continue on my preordained path of he never seems to give anyone the full details of what they're agreeing to. I mean, wait, did I say that out loud?
You did here.
Okay. Of moving on to the next question, he never seems to give everyone the full details of what they're agreeing to. Because I went to go add something to the end of that thought and realized I wasn't pressing the button. So I wasn't sure if I had been pressing the button the whole time or if I was imagining it. Anyway, I mean, look at us, forced into competition against you. That may be an problematic pivot.
Come again? I'm not confused to what the actual question is.
He was drawing a comparison to
Yeah.
us being forced into competition with them. I think the goal was simply to commiserate on people making deals. Is that right?
The goal is kind of to feel out if there are specific things about the contract that they
Wanted to get out of it.
that in hindsight, they're realizing that he carefully left out, essentially. Like with us, he carefully left out that, well, I mean, I guess we didn't really.
Yeah, it was very convenient that he could use us to damage the other deal, but he had no reason or even had to struggle at all to hide it from it. Just never had to come up. But yeah, he was able to carefully plot a conflicting deal that would let him keep what he did not want to give up.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at, of trying to feel out if there are other things that they have to kind of add to that thought, essentially. Indeed, machinations. Machinations.
Mashable machination.
Machinations.
Alright. Well, so just to make sure I'm understanding you correctly, because you haven't put a good bit of work in this to make sure I'm not giving you poor information. You're trying to figure out. My brain's went entirely blank.
I feel that. If I guess the quick and easy way of saying it is if there are things in the contract they feel were like unfair, like he knew what they were trapping them into, I guess. Or I mean, obviously he knew what they. God damn it! My brain stopped braining again.
So then, I'll give you an idea.
They agreed to the deal without, consideration that he might be able to make another deal that counteracted it.
Yeah, more or less trying to see if there's any input in that regard.
No contract is fair. We did our best to stack as many of the events in our favor as we could, but as did he. Being able to force him into being to work with our contract was beneficial, but fell short.
You are gonna have to repeat that, but give me 1 second. Alright, I've got no contract is fair. We did our best to stack as many of the events I don't think was quite right. But anyway, in our favor as we could, but it seems so did he. I didn't get the rest of it.
So did he. The only true boon we had going into this was him signing our contract, rather than us signing his. There's always unexpected outcomes.
We're over the bond. So what we really need to find out now, or what they're probably trying to find out is there some way of getting those souls that they wanted outside of it? Because they're never going to be able to strike that deal again. We've already messed that up for them. But I imagine we want those souls returned as they do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Roland thinks that seems a worthy goal.
I need to pivot this again.
Oh, so one other thing that would certainly come up from the way you phrased that last question is you would feel more or less their utter shock when they walked into an arena full of undead. It seems that they were not expecting that when these events first were set in motion.
Yeah, seriously, what a fucking dick.
Me?
Ooh, that reminds me of Shadow and Bone. But anyway. So we are trying to figure out if there is a new way to release those souls, is kind of what you're trying to get me to do. I think to sort of buy for time, I'm going to continue on my preset path of there's no way someone so illustrious would set impossible terms to meet, and then just kind of think at Roland. I'm gonna need you to think of a way to coax that out of them. Feel free to just say it once I give you a nod.
Okay. Let me let me put some thought into how to play this. And just so that I'm clear, you want me to come up with a way to the souls thing?
Yeah, what you had suggested as Roland.
Yeah. Just making sure.
Yeah, because I took a second and was like, nope, I'm not going to be able to think of that quickly on the fly. Okay, let's continue on our previous path and let Roland figure it out.
No problem.
there's no way someone so illustrious would set impossible terms to me.
And for clarification, you're waiting for Derek to respond to that.
Yes.
Yes. Trying to make sure I word this carefully because it should be important. Um,
Alright. I've come up with something. I've written it down because, of course, flowery language.
uh, yeah. That's true. Right now, alright, almost have it. So for this, you will both see a line of the contract and hear him, like, basically thinking through the line verbatim, in like a monotone voice. This is something that was practiced and memorized, hammered down to the last detail. Should a debt owed by Lord Relic or an earned reward from Lord Relic be deemed insufficient by life and death, then the souls under his power may be claimed as the reward or debt owed.
He was very confident in the prizes he was giving out.
Wait, my brain did not compute, like, any of that.
It said that if life and death don't approve of the payment for their agreement, then they are allowed to claim the souls already controlled by Rallic as compensatory for that insufficient payment. Which really leaves a lot of power in the hands of life and death, which is probably why Rallic was so interested in making sure they didn't fulfill their end of the agreement. Because there was nothing in the wording that we were just told to stop them from being like, no, that prize isn't good enough. Give us the souls. Does that help?
So then, what? Hang on, make this work.
It sort of just furthers the, makes me double down on the wording I've already chosen for my statement. While at the same time making my statement a little unnecessary. But I'll roll with it anyway, just because I think it'll glean us info.
My brain needs to take a second and reprocess.
Well, in hindsight, I should add one word, which is be reasonably deemed.
Puts the power back in his hands.
It puts it more kind of 50-50. As neither party is at that point is deciding what is reasonable necessarily.
Really? Why not? Why isn't Rallic the one deciding if it's reasonable?
I mean, you could also make the argument, though, that, like, if someone is trying to be a dick, they understand that what they're deeming insufficient is not reasonable, and they're just doing it to be a dick.
Sure, but that's not in the wording. Wording doesn't protect you from dickishness.
Well, when it's
the wording, either way, like with or without the word reasonable, it's either one side is entirely the arbiter, like they get to adjudicate whether or not a thing is good enough. With it, it's Rallic who gets to be the one adjudicating if it's good enough or not. Without it, it's life and death who get to adjudicate if it's good enough or not. And there's no other power involved in the agreement that can overrule it.
That's not necessarily true.
agree to disagree, continue to roll in.
You're signaling rolling?
Yeah.
Okay. Roland will say, after receiving that information, you can see he pauses a moment to decide if he wants to reword things or not, and shakes his head and just pushes on and says, I assume liberating the coins from the hand of the Master of Deals himself is not something one accomplishes with a bludgeon, so well as a strongly worded missive. I wonder how one words such a letter.
Right, to make sure that Derek is on the right track here. And what's the what's the intent behind this?
He wants to know how they got Rallick to agree to this deal. Like, what was the wording that got them the agreement here? Because the original intention was to simply find out if they believe making a deal is the only way to get at those souls, or if we could use brute force against Rallick. And he's saying, he's leaning into, I'm pretty sure just kicking down Rallick's door and threatening him with death isn't going to get us the souls.
Yeah. Then I think the response would be by offering him protection for what he holds closest, yet disregards so abundantly his own soul and that which might claim it.
On the bond to Miss Melisari and Aurelion, you would be saying that spokesperson of Asmodeus normally with the cost of the soul of that person, if or whatever it is, gained, his powers, silver tongue, if you like. But our friends here, life and death, found a way to guarantee to Rallick that they could divert soul on its way to his Lord Asmodeus to another god, being or some other deity. That sounds like what you understand, sorry, Aurelion?
The mental equivalent of a nod. Well, but now I need to think of a new question because I am trying to see.
But, why then would he want us to mess up that deal? Does not get his protection from using the soul to Asmodeus. Simply keeps the souls which are already promised to his lord. Why would he want us to interfere with it? May I ask a question to them, Miss Belisari?
Yeah.
Bear in mind you have 2 left.
Okay. Is he already in possession of... Was your end... How do I want to phrase this? Protection was already extended at the time that your end was direct. Anyway.
I somewhat lost in the accent. Sorry.
It was
Protection was already extended.
maybe perhaps one only attempts to interfere in a deal like that if they already have what they need.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a good way. Perhaps one only interferes in a deal with like that if they already got what they wanted out of it.
So are you discussing amongst yourselves, or are you trying to...
No, I am
point?
trying to say that she helped me out, but I do want to push that to them.
Okay, 1
Implicating
second.
that perhaps Relic severed the deal only after he had protection for his soul, but now didn't need to pay out.
Deal.
Yes. Well, you won't necessarily see the exact portion of the contract. You'll fear them thinking. Offering the protection before our end was complete was the only leverage we had.
Over the bond. Half up front is only useful if you can actually divide what you're paying in half.
But the contract is not finished. That line will still hold him for as long as we live. And I live a very long time.
I assume that was Death, the Shadow guy?
Yep.
Well, I have failed to determine if we actually have anything we can offer them at this point in by way of helping with their goal. They seem confident they still have the benefit of this deal, that if they can simply fulfill it at a future date, they can get the souls. Am I misunderstanding that?
I don't think... I believe you're understanding it correctly. The trick is just trying to get him backed into a corner where the deal might be fulfilled. Because at this point, if he never deals with these two again...
Yep.
I am now even more confused as to what they needed to do in order to get the souls.
You rewarded.
They needed to... They signed up for a contract... Like, they signed up for the tournament that was
Got it.
an open invitation. And then, if they had won, they would have
Got it.
been owed a debt or receive a reward one way or the other.
They need to get another situation where they do something that means Ralek has to give them
Got it.
some sort of reward.
Okay.
Alright, well, you have one question left, and I don't have anything to use it on that I can't simply get outside of the check notes.
Then I guess I'm just gonna kind of close it out with a simple, then I suppose we must find a way to get him to owe a debt or reward. I'll leave it up to you whether that is still something that can be responded to within the detect thoughts. Because we did kind of get a little muddy in those last couple.
Mud.
Yeah, there's a reply. You can get to that. They'll think for but a moment as time is running out, trying to come up with a solution. And then they'll start. You'll see them kind of come up with a thread for something that might work. If they can bide their time and get someone to operate as a middleman and manage to keep it from Lord Relic as another deal is made, he may end up owing life and death on their behalf. So more or less, if they can get you or another group that's capable and willing to deal with him, with something that has something he wants, they might be able to more or less transfer that debt in hopes of getting what they want.
We have reason enough to transfer any equipment we've done since our intention is in place. Bond, I would point out to Melisari. So, I simply need to get into a conversation with Lord Relic regarding perhaps other acquisitions or anything you might be looking for. You know, bring it up more naturally, of course. And then simply be unable to make sure that there is a caveat in whatever agreement we make that, you know, if we're unable to fulfill the request in a certain timeline, we can find substitutes who can finish it for us. Then the trick is just making sure that he has a need that we're going after before, you know, proposing any sort of deal.
My brain has done enough work today.
Brain is just done, huh?
Yeah. Brain is like, bitch, you gave me 3 hours of sleep and then you had to go and do fucking that. Fuck off.
Doing social mathematics over here. What's so hard about that?
Well, you know, everything.
I think I've got everything written down to which at least should be factually accurate for people. Content with the written responses.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's good that we put these in writing here. There's been a lot that we had to go through, so.
Yeah.
I don't have anything further. Like, obviously, nothing further to that. You know, for the mind reading, but perhaps we can figure out loud. I think that the only thing I'd say, you know, which is not ignoring or dismissing that last one, but kind of looking at another vein, which is in this tournament that we participated in. Housing, one would say. Isn't it something that this Lord Ralek puts on annually?
That might remain to be seen. It's the first I've heard of it,
Oh, I
but
was
that
under
might
the
be his
impression
intention.
not new. Yeah. Other than, yeah, zombies, it was quite an interesting spectacle to be a part of. Would not be opposed. More such performative combat.
Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. Though, I'm afraid if you return here, you'll be likely to find that someone else will be putting up the prize.
Yes, that is hope. Anyway. I think it was a delicious meal with good company, no?
Since technically a large portion of these last hours took place over the course of like 5 minutes, the meal will actually still be coming, because as you may recall, he ordered one of everything to buy some privacy.
I just imagined that the food was delicious.
Yeah, but you guys can perhaps talk a little bit more just socially as food comes and is tasted and devoured.
I have questions that are perhaps important. So, yes, I would love just a chat over food. Death. I have been in this world a long time, and I have not. One would say, I think, a place like this, one of my kind, is quite a rare sight. But I cannot say that I have ever met one such as yourself. What drew you to this?
That would be my goddess. I'm not surprised you have not seen us. We don't travel in same circles and cannot look you up and down. My people do not possess their current nature for as long as you have lived.
So, you are referring to a new goddess of death.
Indeed.
And you serve her. How do you find her? Obviously, you have devoted yourself to her, but of her I am not well versed.
I find their teachings to be quite useful and, rather practical.
How do you feel?
Life,
Heirs to the predecessor?
before that, because I just kind of paused for a second there.
Sorry.
Life has a flow. There's a thin line between life and death, he says, kind of gesturing to the two of them. And these, he says, gesturing to their weapons, are to help them cross it. For those who have tried swimming upstream,
I assume simply refer to the ones who swim unnaturally upstream as opposed to enjoying a longer stream than others.
mostly, there are some who get put on our, well, not list, but we become aware of. Not generally because of that feature, but most people seeking that much longevity don't have the best intentions. And if they have that kind of power over life, they typically exercise it in ways that cannot be polluted.
I simply meant that while I am nearing my end, I am not yet ready to go, and I hope that does not make a problem for you.
By no means. I expect I'll live as long as you do. Yeah. Occupational hazards notwithstanding.
Uh, what is the general understanding in the world of what the Shadarkai are and where they come from? Like, are they just, like, this new type of elf that showed up in very small numbers? Like, has he never been seen before, or are people kind of aware of what created them?
So, I'm not fully versed on the traditional lore, so I kind of have my own headcanon that I'm
Okay.
applying here. They are more or less elves, though some could be those other creatures in this particular case. But they are creatures of the Shadowfell that were originally more along the lines of monsters, things that just roamed, driven by, hunger and not much else.
Mm-hmm.
But with the arrival and order in place by the Raven Queen,
Mm-hmm.
they were given much more purpose. Not necessarily more intelligence, but less
Feral nature.
need to, like less feral nature and less need to, follow that nature.
Sure. The reason I ask is because I find that if you were using the traditional, it could be a really interesting, like, social thing going on right now. Because in the traditional sense, the Shadarkai did not exist until the Raven Queen came to power.
And that's the other thing. Like, if any Shadowkai that did exist, in
But that
For
would
what
simply
comparisons?
mean that, like, this would be another, like, could be, if you were using it, it could be another one of those things that people go, whoa, what the fuck is that? This is because of the Raven Queen, and it would be another, like, either people think neutrally about it, or they think this is a bad sign.
It's definitely going to fall on the sign of the Raven Queen thing, because the ones that did exist never made it outside the Shadowfell before.
Yeah.
But now she has her own agents that she can send, regardless of how they choose to follow their faith.
Mm-hmm. And
There's a third option that you didn't bring up, Tristan, and that is, ooh, this is really neat.
yeah.
I want to know more.
No. I guess then you forgot the fourth option. There's the people that hate things, and there's the people that want to fuck the new things. And there's a few in
Yep.
between. What?
That's fair.
Let's be
forgot about
honest,
the horny
those are the two main
motherfuckers.
camps.
Forgot about the horny motherfuckers.
We are everywhere.
Those are, in fact, the two main camps.
Well, that was just, skirting the issue.
I'm gonna be honest though, there's often a lot of overlap between those two camps.
They hate them,
they share a
they
wall.
want to fuck them?
Yes. Maybe they hate them because they want to fuck them.
I mean, okay, so these are just people who are in denial.
Yep. I'm not making any allusions to any current events, clearly. Or people who
Not at
may or
all.
may not have any fuck, what's the disclaimer? Any
Any comparison to or resemblance to persons
empathy.
living or dead are simply
Yeah.
coincidence.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly that.
gotcha. There's the gif I wanted.
Yeah.
Sorry, what? Something you wanted?
I said there's the gif I wanted.
Oh. I was simultaneously being so. Oh, yep. Sounds reasonable.
And like them existing purely in the Shadowfell prior to this would mean that anyone alive here is very likely to be entirely unaware of them, because the number of people who visit the Shadowfell and come back is incredibly low.
Yes. If there's anyone that has, it's like somewhere in like a wizard's like textbook.
Yeah.
I
And yeah.
probably
Probably
how
not
I
you,
knew
though.
of them.
Well,
But you
yeah.
said I think had given. I didn't fucking
yeah,
write
you
it
know
down.
some
Of
things like
course
that
I
from your
didn't,
studies, but like it's
yeah.
not like your personal experience.
Yeah.
But even in like our party of 20th levels, only like 3 out of the 7 people have gone to the Shadowfell and come back.
Yep. There are, but the one advantage that Shadowkai will have, though, is that in appearance, if they're not using any of their racial gifts, they do seem more or less like pale elves and can pass as such, just with a off-color palette. They might get mistaken for a vampire from time to time.
I would bet.
The whole shadow motif.
Of course, the problematic things. The pale elves pass, but the dark elves don't.
Purple now. But yeah, I see your point, but sorry, it just fits in with more the.
I know what your
It's a tough.
intention was. So you are a follower of the Raven. What about your friend's life? Do you also follow her tenets?
I do.
And how did you find one another? I don't mean to press so hard on sensitive issues, but it just seems like an interesting story.
Well, with the Rain Queen's emergence and other current events, there has been a great deal of death and other things going around. We, gestures to his partner, met when I was, I suppose, being walked through the new process at a temple, as some people I used to know were taking part in it.
So, religion, I understand. Because, of course, as I explained earlier, I am very old, so this is all very new to me as well. And knowing very little of your goddess, there is, of course, questions in what was wrong with Raoul. I did not have to deal with him a great deal, and was unaware of any problems with personality. Which I assume there must be a conflict of interests with them. It sparked this. I am learning of this war.
Yes. Nerul and his blasted followers were firmly of the opinion that once you are dead, you no longer had a say. What was left of you, body, mind, soul, could be used in any manner they saw fit by any who had the power with which to do so. Undead armies, factories manned by the tireless legions. Well, not factories, it was like mines, things of that nature, but anything where a body could be animated too. help keep things going, despite what effects it might have on its previous inhabitant. But that is just the more visual and publicly agreed upon problem. The other greater one is that before the Raven Queen and death, there was chaos. Those who were not particularly strong followers of a deity, almost exclusively one of their clerics, would be left to wander the plains, finding their own way to their afterlife. No one coming to claim them, guide them, protect them from things that used to be there, and some that still are. And certainly none to free them when they're dragged back and trapped in the flesh, bone, or other materials that unscrupulous mages find and shove things in that don't belong.
I have a more
Now-
direct question. You ever been and scolded by the surface dwellers?
Not recently.
Are you
We
there?
have a somewhat special, and we go where they are to be done.
There is work to be done by people, but few of them remain after all. Are surviving, yeah? Despite work of Narul and the Raven Queen followers. It's a battleground. Clerics.
You'll just see Death nodding at this.
Clerics desperately fighting back hordes of undead left by misguided followers of Narul.
And signs that it's becoming worse.
It is enough to make one carefully question what has been gained by this shift in power. I do not wish to start a fight. Of course, I believe that well ended and everything that you have told me about this benefit of the Raven Narul sounds reasonable, though I have little way of verifying it for myself at this time. But that I am in your presence seems right, that I reinforce, if not make you aware of, depending on your knowledge of the situation. Elysium and its strife.
Death will speak up and say, well, I don't know what all specifics he is aware of. I am well versed on the situation. I've tried to disseminate information as I can. However, as I have not been around long and do not have many methods for long communication, it is difficult to inform those who need it. I have... how best to put this? The Raven Queen is doing her best, and we are winning. But Nerul did not go quietly into that good night. Much in accordance with his own beliefs, he made sure that what was left of him was still used in death. His own essence becoming a tool, investing the very land. It cracked the borders between planes, leaving holes, rifts, tunnels, doorways that can be traversed by any living or dead.
Allowing the innocence of the Shadowfell to speed through and
Yes,
endanger those on this side.
yes. Anything that's there can come back through. And as you've mentioned, those hordes of undead, some of those reflect the same undead they've killed dozens of times before. Until those rifts are found and sealed, this problem will continue. That's why there's such a large force there, trying to spread out and find where all of these come from. I found one, and we were able to get it sealed, but that's also why I'm here. I was on this side when it was sealed.
You came through that portal, you mean?
Yes, not everything on the other side is dead, but a great many things over there are meant to be. And when something, a soul that has free reign, manages to cross back through that portal, it doesn't just disappear or return. It gains a semblance of false life, trying to return to what it knew, often becoming a mindless or next to mindless undead. Though some with particularly strong wills might come back as something else, like a revenant, for example. And with what's left of Nerul still circulating through the land itself, there's always a little bit of power for them to draw on to make what they've needed. And for what's left of his clergy to still do some of their work, despite his passing. Though, from my understanding, that is at least limited. They won't be bolstering those numbers in the very least.
Revenants and other powerful. I wonder what the situation he says a little bit more to his allies than to life and death, since the removal of the Death Knight.
You were able to put one of those to rest. That kind of, I guess, is what both say.
I should like to that was less too, and more meant to. So, if this is semantics, it allows me to feel a little bit better about it. I knew the man. Life was worthy ally, trustworthy friend. For the short time that we were, it wasn't until I learned that at some point become this monster But learning that gestures that Miss Belisari and Aurelion from my new friends, I also learned that I, of anyone, might have ability to help end its time as this creature. And I am grateful for that opportunity. And the
You are able
connection.
to... Oh, sorry.
The connection it gave me to my Dark Lady. Go ahead.
So you are able to do it without force.
There's a way to do it with force?
Overwhelming and unequivocally and divinely imbued.
Mm.
It is not easy. I would certainly prefer the other method, but depending on their personality, how long they've been around, what all they've done, some cannot or will not be convinced to relinquish their grip on what little life they have. Though, in the one in one that we've heard encounter, at least some, there's not many. I think there's been a total of, 3? Some are more willing to, at the very least, negotiate with the new order the Raven Queen had brought, as opposed to the roll of the dice that had been passed. While she does not look favorably upon them existing, if some negotiation can have them pass on without further interference in the flow of life, then some deals are made.
Well, that explains that. Or, I suppose, it's nice to have a little more insight into the workings behind our workings. We had communed with the Raven Queen via an intermediary in order to confirm that our friend Atlas could pass on with his lost love.
Yeah.
Or, there was a possibility of it.
Perhaps better than he deserves, but if it prevents more problems, I'll say it's worthwhile. And it's life saying that. Death is not as heavy.
Roland will look to his
Wait,
picture.
death is not exactly what?
I said death is not as happy about the
As happy.
positive result for the undead creature.
Melisari's gonna bite her tongue. Not but you know what I mean.
Looking pointedly away from death to his allies again to say, I am very grateful that it ended. Quite dear.
Wait, looking to us?
Yes.
Ah, I see. For a second, I thought you meant you were looking away from death to life. But anyway.
Or to my allies.
Yeah.
Suffering. It's more suffering should not be how the
Melisari's just gonna nod and said it seemed like the right thing to do. For what was done to him in life. He kind of seems to suppress a shudder as she thinks back. It's, she felt that suffering kind of directly.
Yeah.
It was painful. It knocked her over a little.
Unless there are some immediate short questions, we are at time.
Nope. Just wanted to get to know these guys.
Yep.
You're fun.
Alright, then I believe we shall call it here.
Sounds good.
So, I hope you guys all had fun, and I believe we are still planning to meet next week.
I think I can make that. Tomorrow, so by next week I should be set up.
I do not believe there are any conflicting plans at this time.
Alright, Thomas, you, there?
We killed Thomas.
I
Well-
did then. I'm sorry, I just like interacting with the NPCs.
You're good.
Come on!
Sounds like- I think he might have fallen asleep.
That's
I
fair.
thought I heard something that sounded like some barely picked up, like, snoring or something.
Quite late for him. Alright, well, let's call it there then. Give him some dignity. See you next time.
Hopefully.
Tales from the Unbound Shore.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
stream.
Bye, stream.